And I heard after John announces that the New Jerusalem, the new heaven and the new earth appeared, he made that statement, and I heard a voice out of heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away." And let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day you gave us. Pray, Lord, your blessing on the word, on the gathering. I pray, Lord, for the church that we make a good decision regarding Sophie and her membership in the church. And may you, Lord, pave the word for her to fulfill her will, your will for her life, Lord, in the church. If it was your will, I pray, Lord, your blessing and our understanding of your word today, and that you bless our heart and mind from above. May you, Lord, shine on us with your love in this morning, and helping, Lord, to bring how much the truth of your unfathomable love to mankind. How you loved us, died for us, brought us, and your purpose for our life to live with you forever in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen. So you remember, or maybe you don't, but you remember we spoke twice from this chapter. And we last time, if you remember, when we spoke about it, I told you heaven is not only marked by what's in it, it's more marked by what is missing there. It's not what's there, it's more what is not there. And in verses 1 to 8, the Bible seems to be focused more, and really you start looking, why is God? Like, seems God is more interested in prioritizing what is not there first, then in the later verses he tells us what's there. So in verses 1 to 8 he tells us that there'll be no more, and then you see no more repeated often, no more sea, there is no more death, there is no more sorrow, no more crying, no more pain, and no more tears. But then as he continues in chapter 9 and verses 9 onward, he focuses more on what is there. And he starts talking about the things that are around. We have a clear, transparent, clear walls. He speaks about that God's glory is there, and it's going to shine through this the wall of the New Jerusalem to the whole earth. He talks about the pearly gates, the street of gold, the foundation that is made of every precious stone. Today we just want to look at one aspect of that, the first bit, and when I focus on the priority, it seems like it's a wonderful thing, heaven. It's a beautiful thing, and I don't think any man, as I told you when I start talking about it, it's in vain a man will stand here and explain what heaven is. He tells us a little bit of it. We can just to tease our mind how wonderful and beautiful and out of this word, how different it is. But really, what I want you to see that the first thing that happened when we go to heaven. What is the first thing that happens when we get to heaven? And in God, in his order, put the priority there. In the middle of this excitement and hype and beauty, it seems God have one priority. To tell us, read with me verse 3 and 4, and God himself shall be with them. This is at the very beginning of the heaven era. And God himself shall be with them and be their God, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. God, in his infinite wisdom, thought that the first thing we need, that our tears will be what? First thing. He didn't give us, he could have, look, you see, that chapter could have been written the other way around. It could have been told like, when we arrive there, this is the wall, this is the foundation, and this is the river, and this is the street of gold, and I'll tell you this and this is. But he's telling us that many things will not be there, and he starts that the first thing on arrival, Jesus Christ is standing on the door with his some tissue, some handkerchief, waiting for you to wipe your tears. Why is that? Why is that? And when you stop and looking at it, it's really amazing from many angles. One of them is there tears in heaven? Isn't heaven the place where we're saved and we go there and there is no more tears? What is he going to wipe? I think we're done. But it seems no. When you read those verses, actually those first verses, 1 to 8, are amazing in the sense he shows us a lot of reality of life. In verse 7, if you see, he tells us the whole purpose of heaven. And really, like verse 7 by itself is really a good, great revelation of God, the purpose for mankind. So not so said, he that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I'll be his God, and he shall be my son. And you think, oh, what is the big deal? The big deal is I will, and he shall. In every other religion, God talk about the humanity in general. He will be the king. And you say, what is the I'll be his God. Isn't he God? Yeah, he is. But God is seeking a personal relationship with you. This is the purpose of the cross. This is the purpose of that meeting. That to lead you to Christ so you can have a personal relationship with him. I will be his God, not God overall. Like everybody that, there is a God there. Yeah, but what relationship do you have with him? Is he your God? Is he your Lord? And the bigger question is, are you his son? This is the purpose of the cross. But more on a personal level in verse 4, if you go back to it, you see not only he tells us that there are tears exist in the life of a believer. And tears are remaining until we get to heaven. And that's why when Sophie gave me that testimony to read, because I have to read every testimony, really, oh, it's good. It sort of supported what I'm saying. So there is tears in the life of a believer. Nobody is smiling. And actually that verse 4 tells us that Jesus is waiting on the door to wipe them. You know what that means? There is tears, there are tears, and very likely they'll be remaining for the rest of our life until we meet him. And some people who lives in La La Land think, joy. This has nothing to do with that. Christianity is one of those faiths. Actually, it is the only faith when tears and joy can coexist. And Paul speaks about that again and again. Joy in the Lord and what he's doing, and tears in the eyes can coexist. Not only this teaches us that tears exist, but they are remaining. And Jesus Christ is standing, actually, if you read for the Puritan series of faith in the old days, they're called the Puritan believers. They had amazing teaching. We don't agree with everything with it, but generally it's very good. The Puritan preaching often spoke about the handkerchief of Jesus Christ, how he's standing with something to wipe your tears. And actually, if you survey the Bible quickly, and we'll do it now, hardly anything in the faith happened without tears. Hardly anything happened without tears. Did you read about David and his tears? The youth were studying or looking at Psalm 51. The word tears doesn't appear there, but you could almost, if you're touching the page, you can almost touch these tears through them. In other places, in Psalm 6:6, I think he said, begging God for mercy in his situation. He said, my bed is flooded with my tears, and I really flooded my pillow. Another psalmist later, he said, when people start teasing him, what is your God? You're left alone and you have no God. He said, my tears became my food day and night. I was eating, I was really licking and eating my tears day and night. Who can forget tears? Hardly anything happened without tears. And one of the greatest men that walked this earth, a prophet of God called Samuel, was a child of tears. Hannah went to the temple year after year and on her knees begged God with tears for a son. And Samuel came about. Nothing happened without tears. Who can forget Peter's tears? When he betrayed his Lord, when he went to the place where he shouldn't be. At the time when Jesus was really tried and laid to be persecuted and killed and crucified, he should have been with the disciples, but he liked to play the hero and went sat with the people who shouldn't have sat with them. And the Lord Jesus told him, you will deny me. And really, when he discovered himself, he's not that brave. He's really nothing but a coward without Jesus Christ. He's a frightful person. He likes to put a show off. And Jesus walked out and looked at him. He said he went out and he cried bitterly. And those tears brought the resilient, strong Peter. We know who later, when Christian tradition tells us when they came to crucify him this time, he's not afraid. They just challenged him. Do you know him? He said, no, I don't know him. Never met him. But now he's really standing at the cross and they came to crucify him. And he said, look, God forbid I'll be crucified like him. Crucify me upside down. Jesus was crucified, hand up, feet down, do me the other way around. I don't even deserve to be. What made that man? His life had changed on that day. Who can forget the tears of Hagar? Or when she was told by cruel Sarah, like, hey, take your kid and get lost. Go in the desert. I don't care if you leave or you die. And they sent with her some food and some bread. And when she saw the water running out and her kids, Ishmael, dying, she was afraid. She didn't want to see him dying. She put Ishmael there and stood afar from us, and she cried for her son. And a voice came from heaven. He said God heard the cry of the boy. And maybe this is a good lesson for every mother in this place. If you're really scared for your son, if you really want your son to be saved, if you really, I'll do anything to see my kids with the Lord, the children of the Lord. Let me tell you, how much tear did you cry to the Lord with for your kids? Salvation does not come only by preaching. Our tears. Mary's tears in the garden, Paul's tears. When he see, and Paul himself explained that one in 2 Corinthians when he starts saying we are like that. He starts talking about the outside and the inside. The outside, we look like that, but we're really that. Like in his statement, he said, we look like poor, but we're rich. We look like we're left alone, but we're helped. And he said, we look like sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. Always rejoicing. He's telling us that tears and joy can coexist. And actually, Paul gave us really a good lineup what causes tears. In his important message to the Ephesians elders in Acts 20:31, one of the best passages you read about pastorship, he's basically, he was told, you're leaving and you're not coming back. You're not coming back. So he gathered all the pastors, deacons, whatever, the leaders in Ephesus, and he's talking to them. And he told them, he said those words, therefore watch. And anyone in a position of ministry should learn from Paul, therefore watch. And remember that by the space of 3 years, this is the time where he served them, by the space of 3 years, has ceased not to warn every one, night and day with tears. For 3 years I served you day and night with tears. Even as a servant of God, he needed tears to accomplish his ministry. Mom and Dad, you need tears for your kids. It's like, you're doing everything. I know you're buying the Bible, you're buying the iPad, you're buying the iPhone. That's great. But that doesn't buy salvation. Tears bring salvation. God. It seems God is attracted to tears. There are other type of tears. Paul also speaks about. It's not our issue, but I'll say it. At some stage, he's talking in Philippians 3. He talks about those who used to be in the faith, but now they chose to follow the words. And he say, and I bring them to your remembrance with tears. With tears. There's different sources for tears. And let me tell you something, not only this chapter 4 or verse 4 in Revelation 21 tell us that tears are existing and remaining, it seems they are required for a Christian life. And again, you might sit there and say, there is no tear in my life. I can tell you something, God bless you, but that could be the problem. This could be your problem, that you don't find anything to cry to the Lord about. That means you don't care about. Maybe God put you in a heaven on earth. I don't know. I don't want to judge you people. But really? Not a son? Not an unsaved neighbor? Not an unsaved son or daughter? Unsaved brother or sister? A stumbling brother or sister in the church? A kid in Sunday school? That he needs something. These are part of the Christian life. If you're not finding anything to go to the Lord with tears, that could be your problem. If you feel like your Christian life is stalling, it's not moving up or down, maybe you're too busy with everything else, you're forgetting the Lord and the need of others. Sometimes we get so self-absorbed with ourselves, me, we forget about everyone else. But this is not the Christian life. Those people who are victorious, who became his children and became their God, were concerned about others. They came to him with tears in their eyes. So much so he was concerned about their tears. This is the first thing he will do in heaven. So there is tears existing and remaining. What causes tears in the life of a believer? Well, what causes tears in the life of a believer? There are a few things. Some of them has to do with that, what we're talking about, some not. But I think in context, let's read verse 4 again, and God shall wipe away all tears from their life, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain for remorse. I think he's talking about tears caused by those things. Tears caused by death. We all have tears regarding our loved one who left us. Even though we have the hope of some of them who are in the faith and we'll see them one day, many of us we have lost people we know we will never see again. In either case, who can wipe the tears? We can find comfort in the hope that we have in the resurrection, but that doesn't take away the tears. And then he talks about no more sorrow. This is, and the word sorrow there, it has to do with any type of suffering or grief. Not only for a people, any type of sorrow. Any grief caused by others. And let me tell you, as a Christian, not only like the grief that people cause to you, let me tell you, you're not an angel yourself. You cause a grief to some other people, and you need to have tears for those. If you search your life, you will find that you have caused tears and grief to many. Husband to wife, wife to husband, father to son, son to... And you need to have tears, and you need to go God back, begging God that to eliminate the sorrow I caused to others. We all focus on the tear caused in our life. But as a Christian, we need to also focus on the tears we caused to others. No more crying. This has to do with how to cry publicly. Supplication type of crying on behalf of someone else. That everything can go under that. Anything can go under that. And no more pain. This has to do with physical. The word has to do with physical pain. Because of the, you work too much, you labor too much. Could be in the ministry or outside the ministry, and basically you're tired. And let me tell you, like, this is in contact, but if you want to survey, like, what causes tears in the life of a Christian? What about sin? What about sin? Let me tell you something. Do you have a sin that is torturing you? And do you know why it remains to torture you? Because you love it. I know you can go see a counselor and going to sit with you like 12 sessions, charge you $250 a session, and try to explain to you why you're stuck to that sin. I can sort it to you from the Bible. The reason you didn't leave that sin, because you love it more than you love the Lord. This is the number one cause. And the reason, like, you can get rid of it because you didn't go on your knees with tears to God about it. And you will only do that, go on your knees with tears, to the Lord about it, only when you hate it enough. Because when you hate your sin enough, you start hating yourself enough, or not yourself, the impact of that sin on your life, and this is where you go to God bankrupt, and you tell him, I'm done. I'm done, can't go no more with it. It's destroying me, it's eating me up, it's taking my joy away, it's affecting my life, it's affecting my marriage, it's affecting my ministry. Take it away, God, with tears. What about, like, as a Christian, you see, every time we talk about sins, everybody think killing, raping. What about sins that are not sinful, sort of? This is sins like when the Lord told you, I want you to do this and this and this, and trust me, I'll see you through, but you don't trust him. You thought, nah, I do a better job. And you told the Lord to his face, you're a liar. You cannot be trusted. I'll do it my way. What about when the Lord told you, like, you say, I want you to do that for me. It's really unusual. But it's biblical. And you decided, I don't want to obey. There is so much suffering in it. You know, like Jesus Christ, the Bible tells us that he will sit on the right hand of the Father, because when he was in the flesh, he obeyed till death. And us, when the Lord calls us to do something, if we see a little bit, a hint of pain in it, no, I don't want it. I'd rather find the corner where I'm comfortable, I'm worshipped as a master. I don't want to be a slave. Jesus Christ was a slave to his disciple. Jesus Christ was a slave to this universe. And we cannot be better than your master. You cannot be better than your master. What about the pain you cause? What about that sin when a brother came to you or a sister came to you and said, like, look, I wronged you. Please, for Jesus Christ's sake, forgive me. Why are you holding resentment in your heart years after years, decade after decade, about stupid things that you know God dealt with? But you keep holding to it, and you hold into it, you torture yourself with it, and you torture others with it. Isn't it time to forgive and move on? What do we do with all that? What about mysterious tears? Like all of a sudden, everything is hunky-dory, vanilla going on, and boom, something comes. a storm hit, a trial come in your life, and you have no way of knowing why. Let's call those Job's tears. Job's tears. Job didn't do anything wrong. And all of a sudden, he saw everything he has taken, his kids killed. And he's like less than an animal sitting in a box and really suffering illnesses and tiredness. He never figured it out until later. What do you do with those thieves? Those very likely they will go to heaven. But Job didn't stop. Peace doesn't stop us from serving. Job, he said, like, even if you slay me, if you kill me, I will not depart from your command. I will not depart from your command. There is a verse in Proverbs, I like Proverb 30, verses 8 and 9. And basically, I'm not sure if I have it again, let me see. This is the man calling on God, and he's asking something really different. He said, remove far from me my vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. And notice verse 9 is the crunch of that statement. He said, lest, so don't take me to that extreme or to that extreme, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor, and steal, and take the name of my God in vain. I call those, see you tears. I missed you tears. You know that sometimes tears come in your life, a trial come in your life, for no reason other than you forgot about the Lord. You forgot about Him. When God gave you a smooth life, a vanilla life, a good life, and you forgot about Him. And then He allows storm in your life and trial in your life. And when you come to Him and say, why, Lord? We say, because I missed you. When you didn't have the trial and the testimony and the pain, you weren't talking to me. You weren't coming to me. You weren't looking at me. You weren't praying for me. You didn't serve me. You're not doing anything for me, and really I love you. You're my child. I died for you, and I miss you. And if it takes a storm, I'll bring a storm. If I take a trial, it's that much I love you. If it takes like a storm in your life, I'll bring it. If it takes a trial, I'll bring it because I miss you. I want you to be with me. There are also tears that are selfish. Israel was famous for selfish tears. They cried. This is what we should laugh for. They cried like 400 years in Egypt, praying for a deliverer. And when Moses came and to take them out, really, after a while, they cried in the desert. They missed the garlic and the watermelon. These tears will not make it to heaven. People with this type of tear will not make it. Jesus Christ Himself cried. 3 times. 3 times He cried. One time He said, like the famous one, the shortest verse in the Bible, and Jesus wept. This is in John 11. This is when Lazarus died, and He came and saw Mary's and Martha in tears and crying for their kids. And people explain that cry a million ways. He cried before their pain. Some people say, no, because of lack of faith. They shout, whatever it is, He cried. He cried. He felt with His surrounding and cried. Jesus Christ also cried over Jerusalem. I believe on more than one occasion, but really one is recorded for us. He looked at Jerusalem and He said, if you only knew what you're missing. When He came to them to save them, to be their God, to fulfill all His promises, and they turned their back on Him, and not only really they're planning to kill Him and get rid of Him, and told them to His face, we don't want you, we even hate you, and we'll do anything to eliminate you from our life, He wept. You know that you could be now causing tears for Jesus. When he come knock on your door, he want to save you, he want to be your God, he want to be your Father, he want to really nourish you in the new life, and say, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. There is also one more. I'll mention it. I don't want to talk about it, to be honest, much, because it's as much source of controversy. In Hebrew 5:7, you remember when Jesus in Gethsemane that last night he cried to God. He prayed that famous prayer and said, "Let this cup pass, but let it be your will, not mine." And many people really explain that to say that Jesus really on that night weakened up. And really he was afraid. He didn't want to go to the cross. It's not true. I don't know why he cried. But it's not because he's afraid of death. And Hebrew 5:7 tells us that. Lotus, he's talking about Jesus who, in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up praise and supplication with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he has feared. It's like whatever he prayed for, it was given to him. If he was praying for to be spared the cross, why was he crucified? If it was given to him. There is a lot of ideas as why he cried, what cup he wanted to be taken from his way, but this is not the time for it. Maybe some other time. But I just wanted to make it. Jesus Christ didn't cry because of the cross. He didn't ask God to remove the cross. Because whatever he prayed for that night, he got. This is what that verse is saying. So we did. Tears are existing and remaining, and with so many sources of tears, some will make it to heaven, some will not. So what? What does God think of that? And let me tell you, the Bible say that your tears are very precious in his sight. They are very precious in his sight. Notice again, if we go to verse 4, you will see something there. In verse 4, and God shall wipe. Notice, verse 3, and God himself shall be with them. Who is them? All of them, the believers. Whoever made it to heaven. Whoever made it to heaven. All of them. He'll be with them, all coming with tears. He will wipe their tears, all of them. So everybody is coming with tears. But notice what he said, and shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. So the first part tells us they're all there with tears. He's there. And then individually, he's going to wipe all tears from their eyes. Another translation, I think it's about, because that term here speak about totality and oneness. He's saying basically all and every tear will be wiped out. He's not going to wipe some of your tears and then leave some. He's going to wipe them all and everyone, each one. Each and every tear is going to be wiped out. And then that shouldn't be strange. Isn't that the same Jesus who leave the 99 and go after the one? Isn't that the same Jesus who say, I have my life, I have authority to keep it, I have authority to lay it down, but I choose to lay it down for you? Isn't that the same Jesus who say, like not even a hair will fall from your head, and I don't know about it? Isn't he the same Lord who said, like, I will hold you in my hand and no one will touch you? So when he allows tears in your life, never, ever think that he doesn't care. And never, ever think that tears in the Christian life are collateral damage. Many people think, yeah, there is tears in the life. Not for a Christian. Not for a Christian. Look what David says. Psalm 56, 8. He's talking to God, David. Say, you tellest my wandering. Meaning, you know my way. You know where I go, where I come back. And notice what he continues. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? He said, Lord, my tears, put them in your bottle. Not one of them will fall. Not one will be missed. Not one will be treated, I'm repeating myself, as collateral damage. Yeah, there are tears. No. Every single one is precious in his sight. So much so that every tear you drop I was meant to bring with me a bottle and a book to show you. Everyone will come. Every tear, it's precious to me. It's not going to drop in vain. It's not going to be neglected. It's not going to be, it's a cause of life. I will hold it. I will know the reason of it. I will know the purpose of it. And I'll hold it. And say, aren't they in your book? Next to every name, every day, every tear, there is a purpose. And there is a reason. You don't know it, but He does. But you and me, we can find comfort that our tears are not just a cause. It's just an earthly happening. Our tears are counted. Each tear is precious. Each one of them is remembered by Him. And I tell you, how are you going to live for eternity in heaven? Take like 10,000 years, so He'll sit next to you and tell you like for every tear why. And what was good about it. And the purpose of it. And He sits with you individually. John Bunyan said, God preserve our tears in a bottle so that He can wipe them away. And I could look, in my mind, who wonders sometime, I see like that page that when Jesus have the tears one by one, and then He sits with you, and He said like, we're going to fix it now. It's like doctors do. No. One by one. Tick, tick, tick. He's going to address them one by one. He's going to talk to you about them one by one. He's going to wipe them one by one. None dropped, none missed, none neglected, none it's okay. Another Paul Young said those words, God collects our tears, and tears are the tangible essence of a broken heart. And the beauty of collected tears is that it means that my sorrow actually means something. Do you know when you know your tear means something on a human level? On a human level, sometimes our tears become very meaningful when we feel they are meaningful to someone else. As long as we're teary and crying in loneliness, it eats us up. And when we say that our tear means something to someone else, they are better tolerated and dealt with. And that works both ways. I'm trying to comfort your heart knowing that they are meaningful to Jesus. He's collecting them in His bottle. But again, a Christian, would you keep your eyes on your brother and sister and the tears in their eyes? Do you care if your brother and sister are in pain? Do you care if they are teary? Do you care if you see them struggling? Do you ask? Or do you just right away, you say, you start passing judgment. Yeah, she caused it herself, and he caused it himself, and even so, there are tears. The first key to deal with tears is to make the person with tears know that their tears mean something to someone else other than them. And Jesus Christ, I believe in that Psalm verse, He's telling us, I'm collecting them in a bottle. They are in my book, saying your tears mean something to them. I know. Michael is preaching from Exodus 3, I remember. There is a beautiful verse there when really Moses tried to do something to fulfill the call. Notice, 400 years in Egypt, and God saying this word. It's amazing what God. I want you to see things there. And the Lord said, and you know me, I repeat that every time because every time I read it, it blesses my heart. Notice the personal article there. I have surely seen the affliction of my people. I have seen it. I have surely seen it. It continued 400 years, but I've seen it. I knew every one of them. I know every cry. I know every prayer lifted. I know everything. I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt. And notice, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. And I know their sorrows. And notice one there, and I am come down to deliver them. This is the same I am, Jesus Christ. I've seen it. I noticed it. I recorded it. I collected it. But in my time, I will come down and I will deliver you. And last, how does God deal with tears? Unfortunately, this is where we struggle as a human to tell you how God is going to deal with your tears. It seems he used different methods. Sometimes when Jesus sees tears, he deals with it immediately. The Bible tells us that one day when Jesus was walking and he saw a dead person being carried, a young man died and they were carrying him, and he saw his mother. I think the village was Nain or whatever they say it in English, Nain in Arabic. And he saw and he came to her and said, "Don't cry." And he told the boy, "Come out." Sometimes Jesus Christ deals with tears instantly. Another good example of him dealing was really an amazing example in the Old Testament is King Hezekiah. You know, King Hezekiah was a good king. He followed the Lord faithfully. He did what the Lord wanted him to do. And one day the Lord came to Isaiah and told him, "Go tell Hezekiah to fix his affair, his family affair, because he's going to die." And Isaiah walked in on the king Hezekiah and told him, "Look, the Lord said, time is up." And Hezekiah didn't take it well. So in his bed, he turned his face toward the wall and started crying. And then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord, saying, "I beseech thee, O Lord, remember how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight." And Hezekiah wept sore. I don't know why he cried. I think he's crazy, to be honest. But he cried. And it came to pass, notice what happened. So this is the bed. This is the bed here. Hezekiah is here. Isaiah is standing here. I gave him the message, and the man and said, "All right, I'll see you later." And he's walking out. And you know those places have a court outside, and you cross the court, and then you're out. And that man, what did he pray? So even a verse. He flipped his head toward and started crying. Notice what he said. And it came to pass afore Isaiah was gone out in the middle court, and the word of the Lord came to him, saying. He didn't even make it to the outside. This is how immediate God's response was. And he said, "Turn again." And notice what he told him. Notice with me what he told him. "Turn again, and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus said the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer." And he didn't stop there. "I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee." He didn't say, "I heard your prayer only." He said, "And I've seen your tears. It seems the prayers that are done with tears are more noticeable. Now, don't go now buy something to put you in rest to cry. But a prayer well connected to a real need. We need to stop coming to God. "God, I want that from you. If it happened, it happened. If it doesn't happen, bad luck." When are you going to go all the way? All the way. Say, I want it. I beg you, I want it. I want that boy. I want that girl. I want that brother, that sister. All the way. I'm not going to move from here until you give me an answer. until you give me an answer. Sometimes he deals with it immediate. Sometimes I'm almost done. I know it took a while, but that's what you should say. Don't worry, just take your time. Sometimes God deals with your tears by bringing you to a place where you're so tuned with His will, they make sense. Joseph is a good example. Do you know how many tears Joseph cried? The young boy who's coming, bringing food to his brothers, and instead of a welcome, they take him, throw him in a well or whatever. And then the next morning, it didn't stop there. Do you know how much he cried in that well? And the next morning, it didn't stop there. They sell you. They sell you to strangers. And you go, you work as a slave, and the day you think, things are turning. It doesn't matter. Things are really good. I find Potiphar, he's really liking my service. He's liking how I'm managing his business. Then Miss Potiphar shows up. And again, he took a stand. But then he's in the prison. You know how much he cried in that prison? Can you make sense of that? You take a stand for God. You end up in a prison. You do the right thing, and you end up in a prison. And even after he forgave his brothers, they remaining a bunch of hyenas, lions, that when his father died, they came tell him, look, our father said, don't seek revenge. But their father didn't say anything. Their father saw Joseph before, could have told him that. They were afraid. And notice how Joseph answered. They came to Joseph and told him, so shall ye say unto Joseph, forgive, I pray. This is their making, I believe personally, they made it up. I pray thee now the trespasses of thy brethren and their sin, for they did unto thee. Because really, even on a logical ground, if Michael wronged me, wronged me, and someone who's really Abdu or Claudia, people of authority over him, want to tell him, forgive him. They don't tell the one offended to take the message. They tell somebody else. But then they're saying, our father told us to tell you, forgive us. It doesn't make any sense. But notice what they did. They caused more tears for him. Because again, I believe he knew they are lying. They are not repentant. Forgive the trespasses of the servant of God, of thy father. And Joseph wept when they spake unto him. But notice what he said, and his brothers also went and fall, or whatever, verse 19, and Joseph said unto them, fear not, for I am not in the place of God. But, notice, he's telling like whatever we say, like, he tell it as is, but as for you, you thought evil against me. You thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring it to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. How did God wipe Joseph's tears? By bringing him to a place where he was fully tuned with God's purposes and will. He could make sense for all the tears. Which one is going to fall on you? There is one more method. You know, like you all know Pastor Silas Isa. Yeah? We're a very close friend. I still consider him a friend. But one day he told me that story. Then when I was young, it was summer, and I was wearing a short, and he did something wrong. He did something wrong, so he did go get, like in Lebanon, this is very common. Don't get horrified and report us. They get a stick and they hit you. Pomegranate was the favorite. Don't ask me why. Yeah, when I was preaching that in Sydney, I prepared that message in Sydney, to be honest, overnight. And I was telling them, look, if pomegranate molasses wasn't nice, I'll hate pomegranate. I have very bad memory with the pomegranate tree. So he get the stick and boom, 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 boom. I don't know what he did. Was a young boy. Anyway, the stick left mark. Silas is whitish. So it left mark on his feet, on his legs rather. And then he sat crying, but he's telling me this story, Silas. He's telling me like, but the best thing was, Pastor Abdul sat next to me. And every time I take a tissue and like get really terribly wet, you blow your nose, and he handed me another one. And he said, really, I don't look at that, what happened, as something sad. This is one of the sweetest things that happened to me, that the one who punished me, he's handing me the tissues. And sometimes for some of us, that's all we get from Jesus. We go to him with our tears, and all he does, he will hand you a tissue. In the ministry, the tissue would be a soul would get saved. A brother make a decision. And that wipes some tears. But we'll go to heaven with tears. And maybe if we find comfort that on that door, on that pearly gate, he's standing right there to wipe away all tears. There was a man by the name of John Jasper. He lived in 1812, died 1901. He was born in slavery. He was born in slavery. He was famous for his preaching. He got saved at the age of 27 while a slave. His father was a Bible teacher. And they say, the people who knew him, unfortunately we don't have much of his material. All we know about him is a biography written by a white preacher. That white preacher was really so fond of John Jasper's preaching. He came for 20 years, he came every day to listen to him in the afternoon, in the evening meeting. And that by itself is telling, because this is the days where the white and the black were not meant to sit together, eat together, even attend churches together. But that white sort of took a risk because he saw a man of God. He was famous for his compelling speaking style and vivid memory. They say if he for instance, sit to talk to you about something, he described it vividly. You feel you're there. This is how good he is. But as I said, unfortunately, we don't have much of his. But one day, the story is told that one day he was preaching about heaven. And when he came to the pulpit to preach, he started choking in his tears. He was choking in his tears. And he couldn't speak. He stood there 5-10 minutes at the pulpit, and the people, just so you know, like how successful he was, how this man, his church in 1830 had 2,000 people. Later grew to almost 3,000 people. And really, his last message, he preached at the age of 88, the day he died, at that same church. So he went there and stand on the pulpit, and he couldn't preach. And he gave up on himself for preaching that day. He waved to the people, go home. It's not happening today. But they remained. And I waited another 5-10 minutes, and he couldn't preach, and he waved for them again to go, and they wouldn't. Then he walked to the pulpit, and he told them that story. So that I imagined myself, because all his preaching was about a vivid imagery. So I'm standing, I'm imagining myself walking to the pearly gate, and I hear a voice from inside telling me, John, you don't want your robe? I'm not walking in. It's like, why are you holding it? Don't you want your robe, the robe of righteousness, the one washed by the blood of Jesus? He said, no, I want it, but not now. And then they say, what about your crown? You don't want your crown. You earn many crowns because you're faithful ministry. For over 50 years you preached and taught and went everywhere, risked your life. He was a part of the Civil War. He went, ministered to people in hospital, dying people, white and black, risked his life many times. You don't want your crown? He said, I want every crown, but not now. He said, what about like those, your fellow servant? You see, Elijah is asking about you. Elisha is asking about you. Paul, he said he would like to meet you. And Peter, he can't wait to spend time with you. You don't want to see them? He said, yeah, I'd love to really sit with all of them, but not now. So what about the street of gold? It's waiting for your feet, just to walk on the day and go to the river of life. And he said, not now. What do you want? I said, after all this life, I want Master Jesus to come and wipe my tears. If there is something in heaven we need to aspire for, it's that wiper. Who cares about the street of gold? What are you going to do with it?